So I am excited to have three great characters from The Sopranos, Jason, Robert, and Dan. If you guys didn't know them, Jackie, Eugene, and Patsy on the show. They've also come out with a cigar line. So we're going to talk Sopranos, we're going to talk cigars, we're going to talk a little bit of everything here.
The first time you see my character on The Sopranos, I'm actually smoking a cigar.
James Gandolfini, he really set the tone. No matter who you played, if you were a day player, you felt welcome on the Sopranos set. And that's what everyone told me. They really felt welcome. They felt inspired.
And I was just grateful to be on the show. I think every actor in America wanted to be on the show. It was just happiness to get up in the morning and go to work.
It's still like a high school reunion every time we get together. There's nothing like it, and I don't think that is so common.
Why does the show continue to hold up so well?
The writing. Yeah.
The content of the writing and the humor, and of course it has its blood and guts too, but at the same time, they really are human characters. Tony, his dilemma of having everything and being miserable. I mean, everyone has a certain arc. To me, it's just the writing. And of course the acting too. Hey.
What was the toughest scene though for you guys to film in the show?
For me, it was not the getting shot thing, because, I had a stunt double who basically did that, the heavy lifting for that. But the wake at the funeral home, it was a real funeral home. You had to get into the casket. I mean, if you think about it, it's an experience that most people don't, remember having to do, right? If you're doing
It's nice to get out.
Yeah. Most people.
All right, welcome to this episode of Sopranopreneur. Before we dive in, and you probably saw there by the teaser, we got the guys from Omerta Cigar on the show today. And I'm just really excited, but I want to talk about kind of how this came to fruition, how it happened, because it's important how it relates to business, right? And that's what we talk about here on Sopranopreneur is, how does the show relate to business? And the idea of consistency, a little bit of aggressiveness, and, just giving without expecting anything back. And I think that's a big thing in how you sort of make these connections, how these things happen in business and also in life. The way it happened is really a great story. Omerta Cigars, I just started tagging them in the show. I thought it'd be great if I'm doing this review to smoke their cigars, tag them in the show because they're starting a business. It actually came out, similar time to around when this was released, around the 25th anniversary. So everyone was kind of doing things around the same time. And I just started tagging them out of they're a part of the Sopranos community. I wanted to be more involved in the Sopranos community and tagging them in the post. Same thing with Mafia Chronicles, Hardcore Italians. I mean, tagging these people in the post is just something I did without receiving maybe a little bit of an expectation of, hey, I hope it also gets the show out there more. So I wouldn't say there's no expectation, but, didn't want them to share this out or share it back, and just started doing it consistently. And then the guys from Omerta reached out to me on Instagram and said, hey, would you be interested in having the guys on the show? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't because, and this show's new. It's not because I had a huge reach or, hundreds of thousands of people listening to the show. It was because, consistently participating in the community. They're consistently participating in the community. These guys took the time. Here's, three guys that were on the show, really just cool, amazing guys. The interview was amazing. Even before the show, even before we came on air, everybody kind of came into the green room a little bit earlier, and we were chatting, and we just had a nice conversation offer as well. The guys were super friendly. So it just goes to show that consistency, sort of giving without that expectation of receiving, and, being a part of a network. So if you want, to start a business or you want to grow your business, think about those things, right? It's not always about going somewhere and pitching somebody on what you do or pitching them on your product. Sometimes it's just about giving without receiving. And that's what allows your business to grow, and then good things happen. The business continues to grow. And these guys have been doing this not just for me, obviously, on Sopranopreneur. You see they're doing a whole podcast tour. They're going on a bunch of different podcasts, really participating in the podcast community. That's how you grow a good business. Omerta is also a great example of how you grow a business. You get out there and you do the work. They're going on the podcast. They're going out and doing appearances. And you see it, man. I'm so happy for the guys. Not only is it growing on the website, the coffee and the cigars, they're on Walmart, they're on 1-800-Flowers. We're seeing them start to show up in stores. So they're a great example. It's also something to follow on sort of how to grow a business. So don't always look at business as, hey, what am I going to get? What am I going to get back? Sometimes it's just about giving and putting out there. So without further ado, let's go to the interview. This was a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot of great business lessons here, and you're going to learn some great Sopranos behind the scenes things as well, which is also exciting. So let's head to the interview. All right, welcome to another exciting episode. Excited to have you all here today, and I am excited for our guests because they are from one of my favorite HBO shows. We're going to talk about cigars with them. We have Jason, who played Vinny Chase, Robert, who played Vinny Chase's brother, Johnny Chase, and Danny, who played Turtle. So, I mean, this is just, I'm excited to have these guys. Oh, no, wait a second. I'm sorry.
I think, yeah.
So I am excited to have three great characters from The Sopranos. Jason, Robert, and Dan. If you guys didn't know them, Jackie, Eugene, and Patsy on the show. I'm a big fan of the show. They've also come out with a cigar line. So we're going to talk Sopranos. We're going to talk cigars. We're going to talk a little bit of everything here. Guys, we like to have a little bit of fun in the beginning. So I appreciate you guys kind of laughing. You're like, wait a second. Hold on. Who booked this, right?
Yeah.
Super Sata, Super Sata.
Yeah, and we're going to, maybe have a little super sod. So we'll see what's going on. Guys, how you doing? I appreciate you being on the show.
Doing well, man. Thank you for having us.
Excellent, excellent. And
you did get us. You did get us in the beginning.
I got you in the beginning. You're like, whoa. This Friday, 5 o'clock. And I was talking, I have an Omerta cigar here. And I got to tell you guys, working in the cigar industry, and I was talking to you guys earlier before we came on air. I built a office in my garage. I smoke cigars all the time. I went from like 2 or 3 a week to 2 or 3 a day. This is one of my new favorites. I mean, it's just excellent. It's great. So first off, congratulations on creating an amazing cigar.
Thank you.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got
what do you got? The Doble Kappa there?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites too. I like that one.
Yeah. I love it. It smokes good. It's smooth. So I mean, it's a great cigar. Tell me the story though. How did you guys get started with the cigars and the coffee? How did this all come about?
Bob.
Robert, you're gonna take that.
I got the feedback. Well, I one of the Riches the company of the cigars and the coffee Riches, they call them the Riches because they're the two Riches. They approached me on Instagram and said, would I be willing to promote their cigars? And I said, well, yeah, but not only me. I work with Jason and Danny, and how about all three of us? So I threw the ball to Andrew Frank, our business manager. Andrew, and I'm sure you spoke to him, and he took it from there, and he set up a meeting between all of us, and then that's how it basically began. I mean, you got to remember that the COVID crisis brought a lot of people inside, everyone thinking of things to do, and it seemed like a pretty good idea, until we get back to work, and so now it's taken off. So we're really happy. I'm happy with it. So that's how it happened.
It's been and so Bobby brought it to us, and it's actually been a fun thing to like learn about, and because we're trying all these different cigars. I mean, once we got in touch with these guys and they kind of led us through it, then we get to pick out what we like. Go through the cigars, go through the coffees. I mean, we to put Omerta together and put a line together that the three of us want to stand behind. And they came out really good. I'm glad to hear that they like cigars, the coffee I love, and like Robert said, it's been a lot of fun.
So Code of Silence, Omerta, we came up with that, and some of the coffee flavors, Danny and Jason. I did early retirement. You know what I mean? So we came up with all these, and of course Omerta, the main label. That was all of us. That seemed to be the best one with the gun.
Oh yeah.
Omerta is Code of Silence, and we never shut up about it. We are talking about it constantly. So, but either way, it works. It works.
So we know which one I'm enjoying. Which cigar is your guys' favorite that you made? I know that's like picking your favorite kid, but which one's your favorite cigar?
For me, that's the one I smoked the most. That Doble Kappa.
That's the one I like too.
I like the Maduro, the dark leaf one. That's the one I prefer. I think that's the Maduro. I believe it is.
Yeah.
Hope it is.
And then why the coffee too, right? You could have just stopped with the cigars. That would have been best. Why also pair it with the coffee? Why do both?
I'm a coffee snob. I love
coffee and
coffee.
Cigars.
Yeah. I think they pair really well together. But yeah, coffee. I don't know. I can drink coffee all day long, basically. Iced coffee, espresso, you name it. So, that for me was pretty enticing to get a chance to create our own coffee line. And then we have the flavored,
The two markets go together, coffee
and
cigars. I mean, people drink coffee and smoke cigars simultaneously.
Yeah. We promote a few things, but the thing is that the coffee really turned out to be really better than I thought it was. And even the flavored coffees, the caramel and the cannoli flavor, they all have that bottom base of coffee, so they're not overpowering with the flavor. You know, when you have flavored coffee, they kind of, so they got that, they have that bottom. So I think I went through every bag of coffee and I enjoyed it. Although I do like a few of them.
So I gotta ask, because there was the episode where Paulie was really upset that you know, the Italians missed out on the coffee thing when they're looking for the car in the coffee shop. Was it inspired by that at all? That's what I was hoping.
That's right, and that's why we did it. And that
there you go.
There's the tie-in, and that's why we did it.
We're gonna edit this and just flip it around and put that.
Yeah.
First.
Just go with that. Just go with that.
I like that. You guys can use that on the next one.
Woke up this morning is a great coffee. I like that one the best. Woke up this morning. I think that's one that Jason likes too.
Yeah. I love the name. I think it's great. I like the members only too. That's like a dark roast. That I like that one. I drink coffee black, and that's my go-to.
Nice. So how difficult was it though, kind of narrowing it down, the different types of cigars that you guys wanted to use and figuring out, like, hey, like, did you try some different ones? Did you say we didn't like this, we like this? How did you know which ones were going to represent the brand best?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we went through a ton of coffee, whether it be flavors and then different blends and this and that, and we, collectively came up with ones that we liked. Like I said, I like a dark roast. We got some of that in there. We have a cannoli flavor, which was fun. It was kind of like a dessert almost flavor. An amaretto flavor, and then we have some lighter roasts as well. And like the early retirement is like more of a medium bodied, and so it's got a little bit of everything for everybody. As far as the coffee goes,
and it was a pretty long process of elimination and coming down with the list, and the thing that everything's freshly roasted and the cigars are freshly rolled when you order them, so that those are really pluses too with the products.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and you could see it when you get them, and that's what I mean. It's not one of those cigars you got to relight a lot. It's it burns well, it tastes good. I know the coffee, I got to try that as well. I meant to brew a cup before, but the kids were a little crazy in the kitchen. But I was gonna have one on the show. But that's one of my favorite pair. Oh, I gotta get one of those mugs too. That's one of my favorite pairings of
We'll get you one of those mugs. Don't worry.
It's a cigar and coffee.
Got no few people. It's a little sweat coming.
I got a guy, right? So
I got a guy.
I was going to ask you guys, so what's the funnest part though about having a cigar and coffee brand? What's been the funnest part for you guys?
God, well, I mean, I think that coffee and cigars, getting back to like the Sopranos and the whole idea of like family, right? Yeah. Like coffee and cigars are something for me that, like, so for instance, cigars, most of the time when I smoke a cigar, I'm out on the golf course or something with close friends. It's a collective thing. Like for me, that's kind of what that means. I don't smoke cigars as much kind of by myself. It's not really that, for me, that kind of a habit, but more of, again, like enjoying other people's company, being together with family, with friends. And, same thing goes for coffee. I'm somebody who drinks coffee in the morning, in the middle of the day, and then at night. Like, I know a lot of people don't drink coffee at night, but for me, again, it's like you have family over, you have dinner, you have dessert, you have coffee. It's like, it's just something about those two things. I think it works.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because we're Italian. I don't know, man.
I think
it works.
I think it's very, it's like Jason said, I think it's very uniting, coffee and cigars. Cigars bring friends together, and coffee is always something at a family dinner. So I think just the thing about uniting people and offering products that are really very good. The products are excellent, and like I said, they're fresh, they're excellent, and I think that's the fun that we have.
I mean, it's one thing to promote something that's kind of mediocre, but I was really impressed with, and in going out with Jason and Danny, and going to these little dinners that we have, these soirees, so to say, the cigar soirees and Atlantic City. They're a lot of fun, and of course it mixes together with the fans who really love Sopranos, and you have something to talk to them about, and maybe not so much the coffee, but the cigars at least. And there's some big cigar smokers who like the Sopranos, you know. So it really is great to promote something you really can believe in. You know, you get a lot of offers. I've gotten offers, and they could talk to Danny. They gotta go south, but this one's a really good brand, good quality cigar and a good quality coffee.
Yeah, I know you
And
guys.
it is, and like, yeah, it's fun doing those events as well. It's like
Yeah.
you get people who love the show, are happy to see you. I mean, what's better than that, right? You got people who are actually happy to see you. They don't even know you. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, hopefully they don't hopefully they don't get to know me, because then maybe they don't like me so much. But
That's
you
not
know what I
true.
mean? You get people coming, you know, with a smile on their face. We have the coffee, we have the cigars. It's something to offer people, and I don't know. It has been fun, and we've gotten some opportunities that we wouldn't have normally had, and we get to spend time with each other too, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember growing up too. You know, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where like people still smoked in the house. And I remember like my parents didn't smoke, but anytime family came over, I mean, there
Yeah.
was you woke up the next morning, you could smell the cigar smoke and the cigarette smoke, and it was like, and like you said, the coffee and the coffee cake and everything. There was just all this good food. What's your guys' first time you tried a cigar? Tell me about your first time trying a cigar.
I did a Tiparillo when I was playing poker with
Yeah,
my grandfather. You know,
we used to smoke
I started with a
Caparillos, that's right.
Tiparillo.
Yeah.
That's not a basic cigar, but I
Yeah.
mean, that was my first experience with any kind of cigar. Then I graduated as I got a little older and stuff like that. And I worked at Caroline's on Broadway. A lot of people would come in, hey, try the cigar. And they were really good. So, I know I had some Cubans too. Some people would give me, and I would enjoy the other brand, maybe more generic brand, Dominican Republic brand than the Cuban. You know, it's like if the shoe fits, wear it. If the cigar you're smoking is not really enjoying it, some of those Cubans are really strong. So, I mean, I really did enjoy a few of them. That Monte Cristo, I got a Monte Cristo, and I was like, wow, this is too powerful for me.
Well, you go back, you go back to the days of the big weddings where, we stayed afterwards. We
Yeah.
went in the morning, we had bagels and newspapers. We were there from 5 o'clock at night until 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's where we smoked cigars and had brandy at the end of, before daylight.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
You were struggling there, Jason. I saw that. I saw you really, really thinking about
you know what? Like I was thinking, like, I can't exactly, but I can't remember if this is the very first time, but the first time you see my character on The Sopranos, I'm actually smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that may have been the first time I ever smoked a cigar, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's
Do
great.
you ever smoke with Jimmy, Jason? Because he was a big cigar guy.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I had a few with him.
Did you? No, I don't think I did. No.
Yeah.
No.
He was a big cigar. He liked cigars. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that was the next question I was going to ask was on set. I know, listening to some of the other podcasts, a lot of the guys, a lot of people smoke cigarettes, but, was there a lot of cigar smokers on set as well, off camera?
Mostly cigarette smokers.
Yeah. But cigars were a big part of the show too. I mean, I know, like you said, Jason.
Oh, yeah.
I know, Tony, one of the episodes gave Dr. Kuzmano a box, the Macanudos at the executive game. I've seen the show a few times, by the way, but
the opening scene, that's a great opening scene. He's got the stogie.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, your appearance in that, I think, was just amazing. That being said, with the fans and everything like that, what do the fans, talk to you about when you see them and they talk about the show? I mean, is it those scenes with the cigars? Is it what are the scenes they talk to you the most about?
For me, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. With me, it's always they want to know if I really peed in the pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and that's a yes.
That's a common question.
That's a yes. He did really pee in the pool.
The first few takes he did. Yeah, and then he ran out of,
He ran out of juice. Awesome. So, guys, working together too, one of the things we know, and we'll talk about the show in a little bit as well, I hear everybody's talked about the show being a family, right? And how it was like one big family. And you guys, I mean, from the minute you guys came on, I mean, it was just like you guys are like brothers or cousins. Why work together? And what is it like working with people you love? I mean, that's the question I'd really like to hear.
It's like a family. I mean, and James Gandolfini set the tone, and because he had experienced a lot of sets, I'm sure, that everyone was kind of impersonal with each other. And he really set the tone in terms of everyone, no matter who you played, if you were a day player, you felt welcome on the Sopranos set. And that's what everyone told me. They really felt welcome. They felt inspired. And think about it. When you're feeling that way, you really can get a great performance from an actor, because there's no kind of I, me, mine all the time, selfishness. Everyone is giving. And I never really met a person that said to me, "Oh, that's fuck, they were assholes." I don't want to curse
No, that's okay.
on the show. And I think that was one of the pluses about working on Sopranos.
I think there was a gratitude. I think everybody was grateful because in the beginning, the
Yeah.
first season, they didn't know what they had. Nobody did. And when it became such an iconic show, we were all grateful to be. I mean, I came on in the first season, first episode of second season, and I was just grateful to be on the show. I think every actor in America wanted to be on the show, and working, knowing you were on probably the greatest show of all time. It was just happiness to get up in the morning and go to work. And the people, as Bobby said, everybody was fantastic. The caterers, the crew, the actors, everybody was just, as I said, very grateful to be on the show, and just it was just a happy set.
And to go on, it's continued on. I mean,
Yeah.
we still get together. I mean, just like the three of us, but we do some events. We do it. It's still like a high school reunion every time we get together. I mean, we had that 25th anniversary, a couple months ago, I guess now at this point. And I mean, it was just, for me, it was just unbelievable to see everybody and the feelings that you get, and they come right back. It's just, there's nothing like it. And I don't think that is so common, when it comes to television shows. And
For sure.
I tell you, I miss it because that was like my first really true, but like Danny says, appreciate. I appreciate it even more now having it, to be quite honest with you. Now I really do.
It was 8 years of not having to look for work was great. It was fantastic.
Which is always fun. Now, do you guys still watch the show? Because I know obviously, like, I'm a big fan. I mean, I must watch it 2 or 3 times a year, easy, all the way through. I mean, HBO Max has made that so easy. And I've done that for years. I really enjoy watching it. But I know some of the cast, even in the Talking Sopranos podcast, I know, Jamie Lynn and Robert have talked about this on their podcast. They don't tend to watch it as much. Do you guys ever watch this show? I mean, do you sit down and watch it, or is it tough to do that as an actor?
I just rewatched it about a month and a half ago. I just rewatched it, and I realized how great it really was. I mean, plus I didn't, you forget how much. I forget how much I was in it. It was great.
Yeah.
I just watch my episodes. That's it. I just keep rewatching my episodes, and then I watch them again. So
I won't spoil the end for you.
I'm hoping that it changes one time I watch it. But I hadn't seen it in, I guess, like 20 years or something like that. And I finally just saw, I think we watched like the first 3 or 4 seasons, because I have a 15-year-old son and he had been wanting to watch it for a while. And so I sat down with him and watched the majority of those episodes of like the first 4 seasons. That's the first time I've seen it in years. And in watching it, I mean, it's weird to watch yourself. I don't love that part, but as far as the show itself, it really holds up. It's good. Yeah. I mean, it was fun to watch.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because I think of it as, when I watched the show, I was in high school when it came out. I remember my parents watching it, and I was like, "Oh, what is this? No, I don't want to see that." I really picked it up in season 2 and then went back and watched season 1. But then I watched it all through college. And Jason, I think, kind of being around your age at the time of the character in the show, and Meadow, it was like we were all envious of you, first of all, for dating Meadow. I mean, that was the coolest thing. But it really kind of matched the time. But like, if my parents would have told me, "Hey, you mentioned your son, watch this show that's 25 years old in the 80s or 90s," I would have been like, "Man, that looks really old." Like, you even watch the show today, it hasn't changed. It still holds up. Why do you guys think that is? Why does the show continue to hold up so well?
The writing is just
the writing. Yeah.
The content of the writing and the humor, and of course it has its blood and guts too, but at the same time they really are human characters. Tony, his dilemma of having everything and being miserable. I mean, everyone has a certain arc, which is interesting. You know what I mean? And I think that's, to me, it's just the writing, the writers, you know, and of course the acting too. Hey,
Yeah.
Well, I think also, I think one of the things, like, one of the things is that it was about every man. I mean, it was about a man who had problems at work and problems with his family. So, I mean, it resounded with everybody that the struggles that he went through. Of course, the mob milieu, of course, is always very popular. So, framing it in the mob milieu, but basically, and it was like life. Chase was a genius, and he didn't tie things up. You know, it was, and we shot every week was a movie. You know, we had 14-day shoots for an episode, so it was shot like a movie. That's what he was trying. He created movies. Every episode was a movie, so it was it's a beautiful show. And as again, but we go back to the writing. The writing is really the key to.
he wasn't afraid to say something, you know, like on the members only show. I remember that scene with my son who had the drug problem. That was an add-on scene. I mean, with the syringe and everything. He wasn't, I mean, that was ahead of its time, because that really became a really big thing with the addiction, substance abuse later on. I believe it kind of hyperboled and everything, but he really was on the, so to say, the edge. You know what I mean? In terms of talking about topics that were right there, you know, topical.
Awesome. So a question I have, and I know I've heard you guys probably get asked this a lot. You get asked what's your favorite scene. What was the toughest scene though for you guys to film in the show? I have Jason and you know, Robert. I kind of have a feeling what yours is, but what was the toughest scene to film in the show?
Mine was
Well,
the hang scene. The hang scene for me. I mean, you know, that was kind of airy and weird, but that was really the toughest one.
For me, it was the funeral, not the getting shot thing, because in actuality, I had a stunt double who basically did that, you know, the heavy lifting for that. But the wake at the funeral home, it was a real funeral home. You had to get into the casket. I mean, if you think about it, it's an experience that most people don't, you know, remember having to do, right? If you're doing
Nice
it,
to get out. It's nice to get out.
yeah. Most people don't get out. So yeah, it's not something that you know, it's a weird, definitely a weird sort of sensation to be in there.
We had a rehearsal. Me and you, we had a rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd you hold it? I'd be laughing the whole time. How'd you hold the giggles back sitting in a
wasn't the giggles, it was freaky.
You have to be,
it was just weird.
You gotta be so still. You have to be beyond still. Like what you think stillness is, it's like you have to be so much more. I mean, your eyes flutter. There's so many movements that actually happen that you don't even think about, that the more still you try to be, the more you end up twitching or doing there's some little movement. So it's weird. It's weird. I don't recommend.
I think for me, thinking about it, because it's not another thing I've thought about, but I'm thinking about the scene when my son is gonna marry his daughter, and trying to pull off being the soldier, but then being served by the boss who killed your brother. So
wow.
I think that to get that dichotomy and those levels was probably very difficult at the time. But I think that's probably really was probably the hardest scene that I had to pull off.
I bet, yeah.
Danny, did you get much direction in that scene, or did you create like
No,
you came in with it, yeah. Just curious
myself, yeah.
So, you know, those are all, I think, and you guys, you all did great jobs in the scene, because obviously watching it, we were all convinced, right? We really bought into it. That being said, the difficulty of that stuff, and maybe the lessons learned, the family stuff, the great scenes, you know, working with Jimmy, the great writing. What lesson did you guys take from the show, though, that you brought into the business and be like, man, I learned this from being on The Sopranos. I want to bring a part of this into the Omerta business.
You can't change any lines. I don't know if that's really helping with the Omerta, but you really had to
Can't
stay
change
on
any
script.
pictures
On the
too.
Sopra-
You could change.
Yeah.
You could change. You could rewrite the script now,
um, um, and the code, like we went over already, the code of silence, that's not working too well. All we do is blab about
yeah.
Omerta.
Family, have fun. You know, I mean, it's just
Yeah, yeah.
The family aspect, all that good
I,
I
stuff.
I
think the
honestly, I think
the togetherness, the three of us together, I think
yes,
that's really what's helpful, beneficiary, and just joyful to have come from the show with really good friends in life, and then to go into business together. You
Yeah.
know, that's a gift.
mean,
It really has been like the gift that keeps on giving. Honestly,
Yeah.
it really it's amazing that it's this long and we've created such good bonds and things that have affected our lives, our entire lives.
we're the
And I
Omerta
mean,
crew.
we're even teaming up with Tommy Cutlets from the Giants. We're doing a couple of promotions with him, Atlantic
Right,
City
right.
and
NFTs.
restaurant
We're doing
events, and
NFTs,
you
virtual
know,
Nice.
arts
so
with
we're
Tommy Cullets.
Nice.
it opens up all kinds of avenues. So Tommy
Love it.
DeVito and us are working together to try to bring more joy to people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Robert, I think you're going to be at Paisan Con too, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I hope Danny will be
Yeah.
there, and Jason, I don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. I know that they're invited.
We're gonna be there.
Finally, you're gonna do that, Danny? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we'll be there.
And
I'll be
Jay
there.
is thinking about it. He's thinking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm seeing, but yeah, there's a possibility I might be there as well.
Possibility, and
Yeah.
you might be shooting a film, some new film. So film first, work first,
Listen.
and then all the fun later.
Everything else
And that
comes
should be
second.
fun too, Paisan Con. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of fans, and Kathy Narducci is going to be there. Federico Castelluccio is going to be there. So the whole family is going to be there, and of course some other actors. It's always good to see other actors, especially at work.
That's awesome. I know you guys mentioned too, and obviously Dan, you kind of got whacked, but then you came back. So
I did get whacked.
you got that lucky moment
Well,
there.
yeah, I was
But
the luckiest guy on the set in the show, actually. Having been hired as Philly Parisi for 3 days work, and I was ecstatic. Like I said, every actor in America wanted to be on the show at that point.
yeah,
And then having been killed, and then Chase saw the rushes, and he just loved what I did, and so he wanted to bring me back as a twin, which was just fantastic. And I lasted till the end of the show, so it
that's awesome.
was a great run.
And Jason, Robert, I mean, I assume you guys had no say in your ending, right?
I pitched the twin idea as well. They did not go for it.
They didn't go for
Not
it.
go for that. No, they did not.
Now, Jay, did you get a call? Jay, what happened there? You got a call?
I
from
was
the-
I actually was working that day, so I got like summoned. I went up to his office.
Oh,
and
you went to the
I got the news in person. Yes.
in person.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
What they're talking about is that Chase, you didn't want to get a phone call from Chase because he was
Right.
so gallant that he would call all those people he killed. He would call them up and say, I love you. I love your work. Bad news is you're going to be killed on the next episode or
Oh,
at the
man.
end of the season or
I
whatever.
got the call, and
everybody
he
got
said,
a
"I got
call.
good news and bad news. What do you want first?" I said, "Well, give me the good news. Oh, great episode. It's just all about you, and it's going to be fantastic. And so, what's the bad? You're dead. That's that." And that was it.
Phone call you never wanted to get.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from the entrepreneurial side of things too, and in business, we know a lot of people too get that phone call, right? Hey, you're going to lose your job, or you're going to go out. What advice do you have for people with dealing that adversity and the transition maybe you didn't want or moving on? You guys mentioned being on this show for 8 years, not having to look for work. Dan, what advice do you have to people on the entrepreneurial side of things when like change happens and you have no control over it?
You got to accept it. Yeah, I mean, you have to accept things you can't control. I mean, that's a major principle of life.
Yeah.
Change the things you can, accept the things you can't,
Yeah, St. Francis.
and
Awesome.
keep smiling.
Yeah, I mean, being an actor, there's a lot of downtime, and it's great to get a series. I mean, I appreciate it more now thinking back on it, that, what I had was like gold, so golden, But this is the business we've chosen, and we represent why we do it, is very important, I think, to all three of us. I think we want to say something true, meaningful, and interesting. And sometimes you have to wait around to do it, but it's well worth the wait. I know Dominic Chinese had a big break in his career after The Godfather, Dan, right? About 10,
Yeah.
19,
Oh yeah.
until
He's
he got
93
Uncle
today.
Junior.
Today's
So
his
this was like this,
93rd birthday.
huh?
He's 93 today.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I
Living
wow.
mean, there's
happily
a
in
lot. That's
London.
that's the thing that, this is what happens, but this is what we work for.
Yeah, he would sing, and he sang. I mean, he loved singing, and he would
Yeah.
sing in a lot of restaurants on 45th Street. He sang
Nice.
all kinds of music. But like you said, after The Godfather, it wasn't like it's not the kind of business that it keeps moving on and moving up. It's you're as good as your last job, and then you
Yeah.
wait for the next one.
Would you guys change your mind to do anything else though? Would you wish you would have done another path, or do you love it though, even with all the challenges?
No, I love acting. I mean, I've loved acting from the first day I stepped into an acting class in 1970, and it's God Almighty, it's 55 years later. So I'm doing a film tomorrow, and then I'm doing a play next starting in April. I just finished 2 independent films. No, I am very happy that I found the passion of my life.
I wouldn't trade it. I mean, I would just love to do it. So I
Yeah,
like
no,
it.
I love it as well. I mean, it's highs and lows. I mean, that's just the nature of it. So when you're high, it's really high, and it's nothing better. Yeah.
Well, and I know too, you guys are working on this. We talked about this a little bit though, but how did the three of you connect? Because were you guys together a lot on the show? Because your characters all kind of had different arcs and different, points in the show. How'd you guys connect and become friends though? Like, was this during the show? Was it after the show? When did you guys actually come together?
I think
During
it
the
was
show
after the show. I mean,
and
but we
during
always see each other and everything. One of the big things is that, and Jason and Danny, we're good people. I mean, not a lot of egos and everything. And so I mean, you want to work with people that I'm not saying everyone else is like that, but I mean,
Sure.
just we're all kind of cool with each other, and that's
Right.
important. Me
We
at
do.
least.
We love each other. We like each other, and we're really nice. We're nice people. And Jay and I hooked up during the show. We were together a lot during the
Right.
show.
Yes.
I was
Mm.
kind of his father figure.
That's right. That's right.
Under
Yeah.
my,
No. Absolutely.
under my wing, I
And
take credit for everything he did.
that's it. No. But yeah, and you've been through something like we talked about earlier, something with these people that's very unique, and it's bonding. It brings you together. It makes you closer.
And Bobby and I were in acting groups together, and so we've all known each other for a long time. And on the show, there were a lot of actors that had worked together, had worked with each other prior to The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Which made it a very nice environment.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned a few times, obviously Jimmy, as you guys all call him, which shows that closeness, right? I think everybody outside the show calls him James Gandolfini, but every time I hear you guys talk to him, Jimmy, that closeness. What was he like as a leader, not on the show, but as a cast member? I know I've heard so many different stories, but he was really a great leader. Talk a little bit about that relationship you guys have with him as a leader on the show.
He was,
You wouldn't know he was a
said,
leader. I mean, he was just a regular, he really wouldn't give you any kind of acting notes or anything like that. I mean, but he just set an example. He set the tone of professionalism. Do you know what I mean? And if you need another take, I'm sure Danny could tell you. And Jason, he said, "You want to do that again? Or how you feel? You feel comfortable?" Because he really had that power to say, "Okay, we're gonna do another one." I mean, he had that kind of, but it was coming from a good place. It wasn't coming from anything that was selfish. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, he was an actor's actor and a leader, and he set the pace. He never turned down an autograph, no matter what kind of shape or what kind of time of day. And he always watched over us, as Bobby just said. If he would tell you, if you want to do another one, we'll do another one. just say the word and we'll do it. And so he watched over us and our performances as well as us as actors and as people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So, you know, the other question I have for you guys is, as we kind of come to the end here and look at this, is the longevity of the show has obviously been there, and I don't think it's ever going to stop. What about Omerta? What's next for Omerta? What's the next things? What should we keep an eye on? What do you guys have planned as you move forward? Like any events coming up, anything like that?
Yes, we do have some events coming up. We have a more of an intimate event coming up in 2 weeks, I believe, in South Jersey, close to Atlantic City.
March 23rd.
March 23rd. And we do have a project, a little secret project with Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, that we're doing as well. And that will also include, you know, a meet and greet and a private event in Atlantic City that people can get tickets to. And then as far as Omerta the brand, yeah, we're looking, you know, down the line to hopefully get the coffee into more stores, the cigars, and, you know, maybe expand into K-Cups and things like that. So we have plenty of room to grow. And
Yeah, we're hooked up with Walmart and we're hooked up with 800 Flowers. And they're also going to be, we're going to have a booth at Paisan Con.
Paisan.
Rolls off.
We're also doing an event for the PBA in May, and it's a big cigar. It's going to be a big cigar event, the PBA Association. So that's going to be an exciting thing to do, to work with them, you know, so.
Awesome.
And we hope all your listeners are going to buy cigars and coffee from shopomerta.com.
Yes, yes. We're gonna put links below. They definitely got to pick it up. They definitely got to try one. I really appreciate it. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been absolutely amazing. Robert, did you have one more thing?
No, just
okay. I can't thank you guys enough for being on the show. This has been amazing. And like Dan said, yes, pick up Omerta Cigars, pick up some of the coffee. You guys will not regret this. Even if you're not a fan of Sopranos, first of all, go watch it. Secondly, make sure you guys order the cigars. Make sure you guys get the coffee. They're a great pairing. Even if you're not an avid cigar smoker, I think this is a great introductory cigar as well. If somebody wants to try it and get involved, definitely pick it up. If you're an avid cigar smoker, go to your cigar shop and say, hey, why don't you have Omerta Cigars? What's going on here? I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. Make sure you guys get them. So, guys, I'm humbled and so grateful that you guys took the time today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Mike.
much.
Thanks, guys.